So, have you ever looked at one of these magnificent animals and just thought, what would it actually take to raise them? Well, today that's exactly what we're going to do. We're building the ultimate blueprint for the ideal yak habitat, piece by piece. And let's just jump right in with the biggest question of all. Is your land ready for yaks? Because, the answer isn't just about having enough space. It's about altitude, it's about climate, and it's really about understanding what makes these animals tick. So, we're going to tackle this just like an architect. We're creating a complete blueprint for the perfect yak farm. Let's start by laying down the foundation, the most critical part of the whole structure. Right. Every good blueprint has to start with a solid foundation. And for yaks, that foundation is all about climate and terrain. These are the things about your land you probably can't change, so getting this part right from the get-go is, well, it's absolutely non-negotiable. You want to know the secret to raising happy yaks? It's this right here. You have to do your best to mimic their natural home. Their entire being, their biology, it's all perfectly designed for a harsh, cold, high-altitude environment. To give you some perspective, 15,000 feet. That's how high these guys live in the wild. They are true high-altitude specialists, literally built for thin air and rugged landscapes.
Now, on the flip side of that coin is the heat. Yaks absolutely thrive in the cold, but 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 Celsius, that's really their upper limit for summer. Anything hotter than that can cause some serious stress and really serious health problems. They are not built for heat.
And yeah, they're mountain animals, but they're not exactly rock climbers. A gentle to moderate slope, somewhere in that 10 to 30% range, that's the sweet spot. It lets them move and graze naturally without the land being so steep that it causes erosion or just becomes a pain to manage. The health of your land itself is just so crucial. Yaks really do not like standing in waterlogged soil. They can completely ruin your pastures. So what you're really aiming for is well-drained, loamy soil and those gentle slopes that help keep your valuable topsoil right where it belongs.
Okay, so with our foundation set, the next layer of our blueprint is sustenance. Let's get into what these animals need every single day to not just survive, but to really, truly thrive.
Yaks are first and foremost grazers. They love a good, varied pasture with high-quality grasses like fescue and ryegrass and legumes like clover. But, and this is a key part of planning, you have to think about winter. You will absolutely need to provide extra feed, like hay, to keep them healthy when the grass is gone. Now, this technique is a real game changer. Rotational grazing isn't just about feeding your yaks, it's about protecting your land for the long haul. By moving the herd around, you give each section of your pasture time to recover. This prevents overgrazing and keeps your land healthy and productive for years to come. It seems so basic, right? But you cannot overstate this. Yaks need constant access to clean, fresh water. And remember, in the cold climates they love, the real challenge is making sure that water source doesn't turn into a block of ice. That requires some serious planning ahead. All right, foundations poured, we've got food and water sorted. Now it's time to add the man-made stuff to our blueprint. This is all about the infrastructure you need to build to protect your herd and, well, keep them contained. Get this. Yaks are so incredibly tough, they often don't even need a barn. Their thick, woolly coat is like natural armor, and it's built to handle weather that would have other livestock running for cover. But, and this is a really big but, hardy does not mean invincible. During the absolute worst weather, or if an animal needs some medical care, a simple shelter is essential for their well-being. And we're not talking about some fancy, expensive barn here. A basic three-sided lean-to is often all they'll ever need. Now, keeping a yak where you want it to be, that takes some serious fencing. These are big, powerful animals, so you're going to need a fence that's at least 4 to 5 feet high, made of something strong like wood or metal. And don't forget, they can dig, so you might even need to think about underground barriers to keep them really secure. So, this brings us to the final piece of our blueprint, and honestly, it's the question everybody asks first. How much land do I actually need? Let's do that final calculation. So, here it is. The number you've been waiting for. The general rule of thumb, the baseline for all your planning, is 1 to 2 yaks per acre. But wait, it's really important to remember that number is not set in stone. The single biggest factor here is the quality of your pasture. If your land is lush and fertile, you can support more animals. If it's kind of sparse and less productive, you're going to need a lot more land per yak to avoid overgrazing. And there you have it, the complete blueprint. From the climate foundation all the way to the details on your fencing. We've covered the what, the why, and the how much. So, the only real question left is, are you ready to build?
Want to raise healthy yaks and avoid costly mistakes? Get your copy of How to Raise Yaks by Gerard Don in the description box below and discover everything you need to turn your yak farming dream into a profitable reality.